everyone. Welcome, everybody, to Vols Society Live on another Wednesday night. My name is David Morrison. I am the Vols Society Analyst right here on the Vols Society Network, and it is National Signing Day, the early edition. Tennessee today signed 20 new University of Tennessee volunteer football players. We're going to go through that list momentarily. We're also going to talk about where some of these freshmen is going to fit on this 2022 Tennessee football team on the depth chart. Do we expect some guys to redshirt or possibly play right away? We will dive into that tonight. And we'll also kind of give an update on kind of the news and notes of going on, what's happening at the University of Tennessee. But mostly tonight, it is going to be talking about National Signing Day, particularly for the Tennessee Volunteers. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/UT Vol Society. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up, and welcome to all of our viewers watching us on our Facebook page and on our YouTube page. Like I said, our channel is growing all across our social media platforms. And of course, you are a part of the show too. So don't forget, leave those comments, whether you're watching us on Facebook or on YouTube. And I have the live stream on my side, and I will answer your questions as we talk about the 2022 University of Tennessee football class. All right. So Tennessee got hot and heavy this morning on the recruiting trail as we were waiting, anticipating for the first recruit of the day, as far as is he coming to Tennessee or not, and that is running back Justin Williams. Justin Williams was a former West Virginia commit. He committed to the Mountaineers back in the summer, then decommitted, opened his enrollment up, and he came down to the final two teams in Tennessee and Alabama, and he was going to make an announcement at 8 o'clock this morning at his high school, in East Paulding High School in Dallas, Georgia. And a lot of folks and a lot of the crystal ball projections, and here on the Vol Society, we love using 24/7 Sports and their recruiting database and their pages. It's very convenient for us, and everybody was projecting that Justin Williams would sign to the University of Tennessee, and this morning he did. He announced that he will be coming to Tennessee. He is a 6', 205" running back, as I mentioned, from East Paulding High School in Dallas, Georgia. Number 24 running back in this 2022 class, number 26 overall player in the state of Georgia. Like I said, this is a big pickup for Josh Heupel and this Tennessee offense, especially in the running back room for Jerry Mack. You lose Tyjon Evans to the transfer portal. He's heading to Louisville, and we wish him nothing but the best. So like I said, this is a nice fill-in for not only Evans, but just to add more depth to this running back room and provide stability for the future at Tennessee. And like I said, we'll talk about where I think he'll kind of fit in next year on the depth chart. And then about 11 o'clock this morning, the biggest surprise for Tennessee was the announcement of defensive lineman Tyree West. So Tyree West, like I said, had Tennessee in his final three, but he basically committed to Florida State, he was down to between Florida State, and he basically was committed for them for a while. And but then there was some rumblings that Georgia was coming aboard, and then Tennessee made a late push thanks to Mr. Rodney Gardner. Hello to my grandparents watching along. So Tyree West this morning at 11 o'clock in his high school in Tift County High School in Tifton, Georgia, announced that he is coming to the University of Tennessee. So Tennessee, with this first big recruit on recruiting day, besides the ones that already sent in their NLIs. Now, don't be confused with NLIs to NILs. NLIs is national letter of intent, and NILs is name, image, and likeness. So it's easy to kind of get them too confused. So he sent his NLI in to Tennessee, and of course, it made the announcement. And this is a nice pickup for Tennessee. And like I said, for Rodney Garner, for Tim Banks, the defensive coordinator, and of course, Josh Heupel. Like I said, Tyree West, 4-star defensive lineman, 6'3", 280 pounds. So he's already got size on him coming into this team. Like I said, the number 12 player in the state of Georgia, number 20 defensive lineman on 24/7 Sports. And like I said, we are back, and Tennessee is adding depth to a very strong defensive line that really excel expectations this year. And like I said, these kids across the country is realizing Rodney Garner and what he really brings to this team. As a matter of fact, Tennessee already has a new recruit from this year's class already on campus. Jordan Phillips, kind of sidetracking here. He's a 3-star from Ocoee, Florida. He's already on campus, and he's already practicing with the team. He's 6'2", 300 pounds from Florida, as I mentioned. So like I said, he's already been going through the grinder with Ronnie Gardner, and I was listening to Jason Swain's show, Tennessee Prime, with him and Austin Price, and Tyler Barron, one of his teammates, was on the Cade Mays, and they were talking that Jordan Phillips is already getting the baptism by fire from Rodney Gardner. So like I said, building depth on the defensive line, that's a huge thing for Tennessee. And then the third big surprise of the afternoon, it came probably, let me find him really quick. Where are you at? There you are. Okay, so then the third big surprise of the day come sometime in the afternoon, and Austin Barnes, as I mentioned, Austin Price, as I mentioned, sent out a tweet saying, kind of like a wink emoji, like, hey, this recruiting class is not done, throwing some surprises already with Justin Williams, which we kind of expected. Tyree West was nice. And then all of a sudden, a lot of people thought, well, this is Walter Nolan coming aboard. And, of course, Walter Nolan, kind of said that he wasn't going to sign today. And then his parents said, well, yeah, he is. And now, obviously, he didn't sign today, even though he's still committed to Texas A&M. But the other name that was thrown around was James Pierce. And James Pierce this afternoon announced that he is coming to Tennessee. So another defensive lineman for the University of Tennessee. He's an edge player. Big old boy. 6'5", 220-pound, 4-star from Julius L. Chambers High School in Brad's hometown of Charlotte, North Carolina. The number 9 player in the state of North Carolina. Like I said, this was a kid that he was kind of late as far as like, where is he going to go? He was kind of one of the last names, and there was some speculation of where he might be coming. Kevin chiming in, welcome in, Kevin. He says, I think it's looking pretty good so far in recruiting, and will get even better. Absolutely. I can't wait, especially when we get into February and see what's going to happen. But James Pierce announced that he is coming to the University of Tennessee, 6'5", 220-pound, 4-star edge. Like I said, this was a big surprise also for Josh Heupel and the staff. They are tickled to death. Matter of fact, Josh Heupel, who's, not all the time on Twitter, but he'll tweet from time to time, and he was all over the place today as far as the new recruits coming in, and he was really high on James Pierce. So that's the 3 big ones today. As far as the surprises for the University of Tennessee, the ones that we already knew, we mentioned Jordan Phillips already. Like I said, he's on campus at Tennessee. And then Addison Nichols, offensive lineman from Greater Atlanta Christian School in Norcross, Georgia. 6'5", 318-pound, 4-star lineman. Lot of high praise for this young man to come in and to fit well into the rotation, and definitely has a great future ahead at Tennessee. Of course, the quarterback, Taven Jackson, from Cedar Grove High School in Greenwood, Indiana, which is outside of India. I guess it's somewhere near Indianapolis. 6 foot, 195-pound quarterback, 4-star. The future quarterback at Tennessee. And once again, Josh Heupel said or tweeted out, champion signal caller. So a lot of praise for him from the head ball coach. Like I said, I think Taven will. I think he's probably going to be redshirting next year. I don't expect him to get on the field early on, especially with Hendon Hooker coming back. So. I think being, that, and Taven Jackson's in a great position because Hendon Hooker's going to get a lot of all first team SEC praise, maybe flirting with All-American praise, and you're learning from one of the best quarterbacks in college football next year. And like I said, this is going to get him ready when his time comes that he is QB1 at Tennessee. We mentioned Justin Williams and James Pierce. Joshua Josephs, we mentioned him on Vols Society on our Facebook page when he committed from North Cobb High School in Kennesaw, Georgia, 6'3", 215, 4-star edge. Like I said, we already mentioned him before. Like I said, once again, Rodney Garner, he really worked his butt off as far as bringing some guys aboard. And like I said, best defensive line coach in the nation. Tracy, welcome in tonight. Good to see a quarterback sing with Tennessee. Sign with Tennessee, I guess is what you meant. They may sing too. Go Vols. Yeah. I'm excited about Taven Jackson coming aboard. Like I said, I think I expect him to possibly sit behind Hendon Hooker. And like I said, I think he'll be ready to go when his time comes. Caleb Webb, 4-star wide receiver from Powder Springs, Georgia. We mentioned him already on the Vols Society Facebook page. A lot of praise for him also from Cody Burns, the wide receiver coach. Cody Burns deserves a lot of credit too. He picked up some big-time wide receivers. This, like I said, tying it in with Taven Jackson. Like I said, this is supposedly going. Obviously, this will be Hendon Hooker's last year, and I expect to see Cedric Tillman to come back next year for his final year. But then that 2023 class, you're going to have Caleb Webb, Squirrel White, Cam Miller, which we're about to mention these two in a moment, and then depends on what happens to the two Jimmies, Holiday and Callaway. And then you have Taven Jackson in there. You're going to have a fun offense here in a couple of years if everything works out and nobody decides to transfer. But, knock on wood, that can all take place. Cameron Miller, a.k.a. Cam Miller, he's from Memphis, Tennessee, from Memphis Academy of Health Sciences. 6'1", 195 wide receiver. Like I said, that building depth for the future of Tennessee's offense and this air attack that Josh Heupel will love to throw out there, as long as mixing in the running attack with Justin Williams in that. Dylan Sampson, a guy that didn't get already talked about a whole lot, but he's a 5'9", 180-pound running back from Louisiana, 3-star running back. Like I said, the running back room is going to be very interesting to see. Obviously, you got Jalen Wright and Jabari Small coming back next year. We mentioned Justin Williams. It wouldn't shock me if Tennessee goes in the transfer portal. So I expect to see Sampson probably redshirt and probably find his way to get onto this team. It seems like coaching staff wants him to get a little work in. Probably needs to add some weight. At 180 pounds coming in, I'm sure Jerry Mack and the Tennessee staff will probably want him to bulk into the 200-pound range. Desmond Williams, also known as Des Williams, from East Central Community College in Decatur, Mississippi. One of the top JUCO defensive backs in the nation. 3-star. Number 2. I'm assuming, I don't know if that's the number 2 player in the state of Mississippi or if that's the number 2 JUCO. I think that's number 2 JUCO. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, number 8 JUCO in the nation. Number 2 in the state of Mississippi. Of course, like I said, if you see Last Chance U, the state of Mississippi has a ton of JUCOs down there, and they're very well produced. So nice pickup. Tennessee going to the JUCO ranks and picking up a position player in Des Williams that desperately Tennessee needs some help on in the next, especially next year. Marquez White, a.k.a. Squirrel White. A lot of hype coming into this young man. He's only 5'10", 155 pounds, so don't scare you with the height and weight. He's a 3-star from Clay Clarksville High School in Pinson, Alabama. Jason Swain, on his show, mentioned Squirrel White. He's a 3-star, but he plays like a 5-star, and there's a lot of hype on this kid. Very, very fast. I mean, he runs fast as a squirrel, to kind of throw a cliche out there. I'm excited about him. There's a lot of comparisons to Tyreek Hill from the Kansas City Chiefs. I expect him to fit in fairly quickly. Maybe he can return kicks. I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm just kind of speculating off the top of my head, but a lot of hype on Squirrel White. I think he's going to be a fan favorite, obviously, with his nickname. But if he has some good explosive plays on this offense, sky's the limit for him. Another wide receiver in Chaz Nimrod from Bentonville, Arkansas, 3-star wide receiver, 6'2.5", 186 pounds. Like I said, going to be interesting to see where he's going to fit into this wide receiver room that is growing leaps and bounds. And like I said, going to add some exciting times in the next couple of years. Going back to defense, Elijah Herring, linebacker from Riverdale High School in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. So Tennessee gets an in-state recruit, along with the kid from Memphis. 3-star linebacker, 6'2.5", 230 pounds. So it seems like he's got the weight already down. Like I said, Tennessee needs a lot of help in the linebacker core. And like I said, when we break down this depth chart, we'll talk about where he might fit in. But it wouldn't shock me to see if he might take the field. I don't think he's going to start, but I could see him come into the rotation. Moving on to Maurice Clipper Jr., or Mo Clipper Jr., as they called him, from Milton High School in Alpharetta, Georgia. Another inside offensive lineman, 6'4", 300-pound, 3-star guy. Like I said, he was one of the earliest national letter of intent players to sign this morning. He's been committed to us for a while, but once again, just trying to find out where he might fit onto the depth chart. So we shall see. Caleb Perry, 6'3.5", 215-pound linebacker. Once again, kind of like Elijah Herring. I expect him to possibly take the field in this linebacker rotation, provide some depth for this football team next year. So I don't expect to see a lot of linebackers redshirting next year. I think they may have to go ahead and play a little bit. Messiah Reddick is next, an offensive tackle, 6'4.5", 330 pounds. 3-star player from Detroit. Looks really young in his picture. But, once again, just trying to find out where he might fit. I think he'll probably end up redshirting, but, hopefully he can stick around. We shall see. Like I said, this Tennessee offensive line is going to be a very, very deep group next year. Safety we mentioned here on Vols Society, Jordan Thomas, the former Mississippi State commit from Montgomery Catholic Prep School in Montgomery, Alabama. 3-star safety, 6'2", 190 pounds. When we posted that he was coming to Tennessee, it got our Facebook page trending and a lot of praise coming in for this young man. And yeah, I'm excited to see, like I said, kind of like the linebacking core, safety is another big concern for Tennessee next year. So don't be surprised to see if he might take the field next year. Like I said, the linebackers and safeties is, like I said, is to me kind of the weakest part of the Tennessee football team. So like I said, you're going to see a lot of young guys in there, and you're going to probably see some growing pains for the first few games. But excited to see the potential that Josh Heupel, Tim Banks, and Willie Martinez can bring to this team. Another offensive tackles, we kind of wind down the final two. Brian Grant from Fort Walton Beach, Florida, 6'6", 278-pound offensive tackle, 3-star guy. You know, kind of the same thing, just find out where he might fit into the depth chart. And then we wrap up with Christian Harrison from Woodward Academy High School in Atlanta, Georgia, 6-foot cornerback, 183 pounds, the son of NFL great Rodney Harrison, former New England Patriot. He's on us. You'll see him. I think he's still on Sunday Night Football. But this is a cool story today. So Christian Harrison signed his net as NLI on Rodney Harrison's birthday. So happy birthday to Rodney Harrison. Really cool to see that story take place today, signing, your college football playing career on your dad's birthday. So very cool. And like I said, I expect to see Christian Harrison to quickly climb up the depth chart. And we'll go ahead and mention this one transfer. We talked about on the Facebook page, Gerald Mincy, the former Florida offensive lineman, 6'5", 320 pounds. Like I said, came from Florida. When Dan, he hit the transfer portal right after Dan Mullen was let go, and now Billy Napier's in. So I expect to see Gerald Mincy to be plugged in fairly quickly. It's just, I don't know if he'll be starting. It's just all depends on what Cade Mays does. If he decides to come back for his super senior year in the way that he's been hitting, he may be coming back. And sound like he didn't get a good draft report card back from the NFL. So who knows? I would love to have Cade Mays back. And if you think about it, and we're about to break down this depth chart here in just a moment, or what I think may be the depth chart. You have Hendon Hooker coming back. You got a talented running back core coming back. You got wide receivers coming back, including possibly Cedric Tillman. You have all 5 offensive linemen coming back if you want to count Cade Mays. Defensive line is going to be depth. The concern, obviously, is going to be linebackers and secondary. But I truly believe if everybody's coming back, this can be a top 15, top 20 preseason team right out of the gate. And as far as maybe a threat to Georgia, I still think Georgia's probably going to be a better football team than us next year, but definitely a threat to win the SEC East. I'm excited to see this team. 2022 is going to be a lot of fun if everything works together. And Tennessee, like I said, is not done in recruiting. You still got February coming up. Is Walter Nolan going to flip from Texas A&M to Tennessee? Who knows? It's basically a soap opera at this point. And then the rest of there's still some good recruits out there that's waiting till February. Is Tennessee, like I said, Tennessee going to kind of make that final push and bring guys in, plus the transfer portal. And that's been kind of the hot news today as far as, the transfer portal. I mentioned before on this program, I think the transfer portal has been an answered prayer for the Tennessee football team because it has sped up our rebuilding process. But I see the concerns from the coaches, like, players can hit the transfer portal anytime they want to, right in the middle of the season, and they can go start visiting teams. And I see the concerns that they do have, and I do agree on a lot of it. I still think there should be some sort of a calendar, or at least refreshing the college football calendar as far as, like I said, because Tennessee, we still got one more football game to go, and that's the Music City Bowl. But we are, we got recruiting coming in. We got transfer portal coming in. Thank you, Tracy, for that compliment. Like I said, so I kind of would love to see refresh in the college football calendar and maybe some more clarification with the transfer portal, since this is the first big year where everybody can enter in and join teams right away. Like I said, it is college football free agency. So, going to be, like I said, we'll see if the NCAA can step in, or maybe, who knows at this point, maybe the conference commissioners or something. But it definitely needs to kind of be ironed out a little bit better, and help the coaches out a lot more. Especially, even we got coaching carousels going on too. The head coaching positions are all filled, I believe. But now you're going to have these assistant coaches jumping, and that just puts more wear and tear and stern on these coaches. But they get paid millions and millions and millions of dollars to deal with this. All right, so we'll get ready to talk about the Tennessee depth chart. One quick news to information to pass along. This doesn't pertain to Tennessee, but this was a big story today in the recruiting world today. And that is depends on which website you read, the number one player in the nation, Travis Hunter, who was committed to Florida State for months, was heading to Tallahassee at the 11th hour on National Signing Day, flipped his commitment to Coach Prime's Jackson State Tigers. First time ever, Jackson State, an FCS school, picks up the number one recruit in the nation. This was a shock not only to Florida State fans, because not only you lost your top recruit in the nation, top player in the state, top position player, but you lost it to a legend at Florida State in Deion Sanders. So Florida State took two big ones today, not only losing Tyree West, but then they lost their number one player in the nation to Jackson State. And congratulations to Deion Sanders. Doing a great job down in Jackson State. Huge pickup for him, the school. Huge pickup for the HBCU schools. Like I said, that Coach Prime has got Jackson State red hot right now, and they're about to play in the Celebration Bowl, and they won the SWAC championship and currently sitting 11-1 on the year. And one more other business. These two ladies I'm about to mention, probably not going to get a lot of praise on social media and platforms, but two unsung heroes as far as recruiting goes. Angela Brummett and Jessica Stinger. Now, you're probably wondering who they are. Well, Angela Brummett is the director of recruiting at the University of Tennessee, and Jessica Stinger is the assistant director of recruiting. These two ladies was announced as the director of recruitings at Tennessee when Josh Heupel's staff came aboard in January, and then I think they were hired in February, and they came from UCF. And before I joined Vols Society, I saw that they were hired, and unfortunately, you had some idiot Tennessee fans who criticized this hire because of their gender. And that really bothered me, because, I want to see the Tennessee football team do well, and made some very, very shrewd and ugly comments to them. And, I posted it on my personal page and took up for these two ladies who's doing a great job at the University of Tennessee, and they don't get enough recognition for what they do. They didn't go out with the coaching staff and recruit the guys personally, but they are the ones that set up the recruits that's coming into Tennessee, and kind of making sure everything works out good, make sure the stadium is in good use and the locker rooms is in good use and the facilities, and they don't get a lot of credit. So Angela and Jessica definitely deserves the recognition for what they've done today. They're a big part of it as far as getting these recruits ready when they came on campus, and I think they deserve a lot of credit for them. So congratulations to them too. I should really mention them. What you talking about? Hello, Pamela. We're just talking about recruits. I just got done praising our director of recruiting, Angela and Jessica, for like I said, the unsung heroes kind of in this recruiting cycle. And you say packing going on. Oh, awesome. Have a fun time on the cruise tomorrow. I'm packing up. That's awesome. Like I said, definitely, Tracy. Congratulations to these two ladies, and they deserve a lot of credit. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into what I think the depth chart might look like for Tennessee. Obviously, start with offense and work our way defensively. We mentioned Taven Jackson. I expect Taven Jackson to. What about here? Yeah, that was a big pickup. We mentioned that earlier. Nice pickup for Tennessee. But let's get to the quarterbacks here. Hendon Hooker's coming back next year. Big news Sunday afternoon. Of course, we had kind of our Vols Society get together, and we were coming back from the Carolina Panthers Atlanta Falcons game when the news broke that Hendon Hooker was coming back, and that was huge boost for us, huge boost to the offense, and the sky's the limit for him. And I can't wait to see the preseason recognition he's going to get. But as far as Taven Jackson goes, like I said, this is a chance for to learn from one of the best college football quarterbacks going into next year, possible preseason Heisman Trophy candidate, and like I said, to be ready for him. I have Joe Milton as the backup. I know a lot of people's not big fans of Joe Milton, but Joe Milton, we probably need him to come back, believe it or not, to have some experience. Pamela loves our quarterback pick. Tracy says possible 10-win season in 2022. It's quite possible, and I'm excited to see. So, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how Taven Jackson does. And like I said, you're going to have players hit. I'll just say this about this recruiting class. I hope everybody stays for 3 or 4 years, but you're going to have one of these players going to hit the transfer portal sometime. So just kind of prepare for that. Hopefully the ones that we do want to keep are going to stay. Running backs, we mentioned Jabari Small, Jalen Wright, they're coming back next year. I expect to see Justin Williams to possibly be that third running back and get some early playing time. A lot of hype on him. Close this out really quick. I expect to see him to possibly be like that third running back. I mean, you have Whitehead. We didn't get to see a lot of Beckwith. Page got to play a little bit, but I really think this Tennessee's team really loves Justin Williams, and if you can kind of go ahead and get the ball rolling with him, and then you could have a nice 1-2 combo with Small and Wright this year, and then maybe with Wright and Williams. I can expect to see Tennessee may hit the transfer portal and get another running back. And like I said, Jerry Back mentioned at the beginning of this past season, you need 6 running backs to win in the SEC, and we kind of saw 6 running backs. And, we saw Evans hit the transfer portal, and then before the season with T. Hodges. And, like I said, it's a very physical league, and Tennessee would love to surround the football. I mean, we love the explosive plays down the field, but it starts with the running game, and Tennessee has a great running back room right now with the addition of Williams. Wide receivers, I expect to see Cedric Tillman coming back next year. He kind of mentioned that depends on the future of Hendon Hooker, if he was going to come back when we know Hooker's coming back. So, I expect to see Tillman to be back as the number 1 wide receiver. I expect him to have all SEC praise, maybe all American praise, along with Hendon Hooker, and that's nice to see more than one Tennessee player getting a lot of all conference praise and all American praise. I mean, that's going back old school, if you will. Jalen Hyatt mentioned, and then Ramel Keaton, and then I expect I expect probably them to go to transfer portal one more time. I mean, you're losing Velvis Jones Jr., you're losing Javonte Payton. But then you have the freshmen I mentioned with Webb and Miller and then Squirrel White. I expect to see Squirrel White to probably get the field right away. I can expect him probably be on special teams, maybe be the kickoff or punt returner. Like I said, a lot of hype in this kid. As long as, like I said, he can pick it up really quick, I think he's going to be a valuable piece on this team. The tight ends, you lose Princeton Fant. Unless he comes back for a super senior year. I hadn't really heard about him. Jacob Warren, I expect to see coming back. Unfortunately, Tennessee did lose a tight end commitment in Brody Foley, which, by the way, it's an awesome wrestling name. But he, the day before National Signing Day, he did flipped his commitment from Tennessee to Indiana. So wish him nothing but the best. But that did take a blow as far as getting a tight end for this class. But then Tennessee, then a few days ago, we forgot to post this on Vols Society. They did pick up a tight end for the 2023 class in Ethan Davis. So I kind of wonder maybe Brody Foley saw Ethan Davis coming in 2023 and thinking, maybe had some self-doubt and wanted to kind of be the guy right away. And but we shall see. It's just kind of all speculation at this point. Offensive lineman, it is loaded, and I'm happy to see that. You got Darnell Wright coming back. You got Jerome Carvin coming back, play center. Did not give up a sack all year. Cooper Mays should be back. Spraggins, and then some of the backup linemen that have been filling in for these injured players, and unfortunately some of them have been injured themselves. Dane Davis, Ollie Lane, Jackson Lampley, who's kind of played down the stretch. Like I said, hopefully all these guys will stay healthy next year. But you got 8 guys right there, and then along with Keyston Harris, I didn't even mention yet, but there's 9 right there. I mean, this offensive line is going to be deep. And we also mentioned Gerald Mincy from Florida, the transfer. Where's he fit in? And then the big X factor is Cade Mays. And we kind of mentioned this earlier in the broadcast. Cade Mays mentioned on the Tennessee Prime show that, 50-50 chance he may be coming back to Tennessee. Like I said, if he comes back, this is a top 15, top 20 preseason team right here. And maybe even top 10, but, it's kind of maybe a little far stretch, but definitely going to be a lot of hype in this team, especially if Cade Mays comes back. Defensive line, same thing. Rodney Gardner is the man. You got Byron Young coming back. Elijah Simmons, who played very well at the beginning of the season and then kind of battled some injuries. You got Thomas. Tyler Barron has been kind of the rumored of, is he going to the transfer portal or not? But, I would love for him to stay with us. I think he can bring a lot on this defensive line. Dejon Terry, who came from Kansas. West, Pierce, and Phillips. That can add some depth. And then, like I said, the freshmen. So definitely the strongest core on this team, that probably right next to offensive line and wide receiver. Linebacker is going to be kind of interesting. We mentioned Aaron Beasley, who's played very well this year. Jeremy Banks, I expect to see him come back next year too. He's played very well. Roman Harrison, who's I think he's really come along really well. So you got 3 good linebackers, but they need depth also. So transfer portals in the play. And then I mentioned Herring and Perry. I expect them to kind of get in the rotation. Like I said, I want to see this team really take a step up next year because they got burned quite a bit throughout the year. Cornerbacks and defensive backs, I'll kind of combo it into one here. Brandon, like I said, Alontae Taylor, not expected to play in the Mississippi Bowl. Now he's kind of saying the reason he's not playing is because of injury. I obviously we know the real answer is, he's got invited to the Senior Bowl, and he's going to be an NFL draft pick, maybe pretty high. So I have my opinions on that, but I'll save them for another day. But but you have Brandon Turnage. Excited to see him to step up for us. Warren Burrell, I'm not crazy about Warren Burrell from time to time, but hopefully he can step up for us. And then after that, it's kind of the freshmen as far as the corners go, maybe the portal again. Forgot to top Hayden in there in my notes. And then defensive backs, Jalen McCullough. I think he's going to be a real exciting player for us next year. Kind of the similar situation with Theo Jackson. Flowers, is he coming back for a super senior year? But, let chop me if he comes back. Danico Slaughter, who's playing pretty well, and then he got banged up in the year. He should be back. Got McDonald, the freshman Charles. And then after that, portal and the freshman class. So, like I said, offensively, I'm excited to see what this team's going to do. Great leadership, great playmakers all the way around. Defensively, the defensive line should be stout, but the concern is going to be linebackers, corners, and safeties, where we got burnt big time this year. So, what is Tim Banks going to dial up? Willie Martinez, defensive backs coach, linebackers coach. I mean, like I said, can that back unit on that defensive side, can they step up and really kind of wreak havoc? They had They had flashes of brilliance at times last year, especially seeing Theo Jackson, Jalen McCullough play very well. But can they step up their game next year and really provide some good play? So that's kind of how it looks for the 2022 team. Like I said, I'm very excited to see what's going to happen. Like I said, the schedule is pretty easy. Non-conference games, you got Ball State to open the season, and then you got to go to Heinz Field and play Pitt, which Pitt's not going to have Kenny Pickett, and I'm sure along with all his offensive weapons, possibly going to the NFL and maybe elsewhere, graduation or whatnot. So I'm not scared about playing Pitt next year, even on the road. Akron, and then UT Martin's the other non-conference game. And then your conference games, the usual suspects in Georgia and Bama. Bama comes here next year. And then Georgia we got to go to. The Florida game is probably the game I'm looking forward to next year. Florida didn't have a great recruiting class today. As a matter of fact, they had a lot of guys hit the transfer portal after Dan Mullen was let go. I think they only have like 7 guys in their recruiting class. And like I said, I mentioned this last week. If Tennessee wants to beat Florida, next year is the best shot they've had in over a decade. I mean, it's like I said, you got Billy Napier coming in, trying to establish the team, trying to scrap up the team. You're going on the road to a hostile Neyland Stadium, should be undefeated. It's gonna be rocking and rolling. Tracy says he sees us beating Florida next year, and I do too. Like I said, this is our best shot in the last several years that I feel confident in beating Florida. It's always kind of, maybe this is the year, maybe not. Unless, like I said, they pick up a big-time player in the transfer portal, I expect Tennessee to get a nice win over the Gators next year. Like I said, it's still a long way to go, but it's looking very good. Tennessee goes to the Bayou next year and takes on LSU. To me, it's kind of a toss-up game going on the road. Brian Kelly is a good coach. So like I said, it can be a big swing of momentum swing game for us. Especially, I don't know how hostile environment Heinz Field is for a Pitt Panther game. I know how it is for a Pittsburgh Steelers game, but I know for Pitt Panthers. But you already have a road game under your belt, but you're going to go to, Death Valley of Baton Rouge, which is one of the loudest stadiums in college football. So could be interesting there. But Tennessee somehow survives a win. That third Saturday in October is looking like a possible top 10 showdown. And that's going to be very exciting, too. I can see a possible college game day being there. Like I said, but, that's got to take care of those games before we get to there. South Carolina game is now kind of interesting. If you hadn't followed along, Spencer Rattler, former Oklahoma preseason Heisman candidate quarterback, is reuniting with Shane Beamer in Columbia. So depends on where they go with it. There's a lot of hype in this South Carolina team. I still think we're a better team than the Gamecocks, but, a very nice pickup for South Carolina getting Spencer Rattler. And that could be an interesting showdown for us. But I still like our chances. Even Missouri, Missouri comes here next year because it's on my birthday. So I expect a win there and a win over Kentucky at home, and then definitely should win at Vanderbilt. Hopefully we'll have an orange out when we go back to Commodore Stadium, reminiscent of the late 90s. And the 2000s. So, but like I said, we still got one more game coming up on December 30th, the Music City Bowl in Nashville as we get ready to take on Purdue. Purdue announced that their top 2 players, that David Bell, the wide receiver, and then their best defensive player is going to opt out the bowl game. So to me, that really adds the momentum for Tennessee's favor. I expect to see Tennessee possibly win by 2 or 3 touchdowns right now over Purdue. If they're going to be out, I was a little concerned not having Alontae Taylor, but if David Ball is not going to play for Purdue, they're all-American wide receiver, all Big Ten wide receiver, then our chances have really went up. And talking about a great first year for Josh Heupel, 7-5 right now. Preseason media picked us to win 3 or 4 games and totally over everybody's expectations. Adam Rittenberg may have saw today, yesterday, this week, posted the grades for the first year head coaches and gave Josh Heupel an A- along with Shane Beamer. So nation is noticing it, whether they want to admit it or not. Tennessee football right now is on the rise. The athletic department's on the rise. Danny White has done a great job really bringing some core coaches and the core staff and just really changing the landscape of Tennessee athletics, including the football team. Before we wrap up, Vols Society Award winners was announced on our Facebook page. Hendon Hooker won our Breakout Vol of the Year along with our MVP. Tony Vitello won Coach of the Year. The baseball team was our Team of the Year. Moment of the Year was Drew Gilbert's walk-off. And the Game of the Year was the Tennessee-Kentucky football game. Of course, those were calculated from the staff at Vols Society Network and along with our followers on our Facebook page. And you're a part of the network too, part of the success of us, and we thank you for that. So a lot of good stuff coming up. Real quickly, Tennessee basketball team, we forgot to post this over the weekend. We were busy in Charlotte having a good time. But Tennessee basketball team picked up a couple wins over the weekend over UNC in Greensboro, and then picked up a win last night over USC Upstate. Big game coming up for the Tennessee men's basketball team as they head to Nashville to take on the Memphis Tigers, who picked up a huge upset win at home against Alabama, who is a preseason top 10 team, or who is a current top 10 team. So going to be a fun showdown in the Music City. I guess the Tennessee, I guess it'd be kind of like an appetizer before the Music City Bowl, as the Big Orange is in the state capital to take on a rival in basketball, the Memphis Tigers. And then Lady Vols still undefeated. Nice win over to Georgia State. They're getting ready for a huge top 10 showdown at home against Stanford. I forgot when that game is, but I'll keep you posted on that. A lot of good stuff coming up with Tennessee athletics, including here on the Vols Society Network on our social media pages, YouTube and Facebook. Don't forget, facebook.com/UT Vol Society. There it is right there on the bottom of the screen. Don't forget to follow us. Next Wednesday night, there will be no Vol Society Live. Obviously, it's be 2 days before Christmas, and we want to spend time with our family and just a crazy busy time during the holidays. So we'll go ahead and first and foremost wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. Actually, we'll talk to y'all before the New Year. But wish you nothing but the happiness and healthy holiday season. If you get to see your family, like I say, enjoy the time. Try not to get into too many fights, and hopefully Santa Claus can bring you all your presents on your wish list. And like I said, no show next Wednesday night. We're going to enjoy the holidays, but we'll be back that following Wednesday, the 29th, for I guess you can call it a tailgate show or a pep rally before the Music City Bowl. Should be a lot of fun. Merry Christmas to you, Tracy. Like I said, we'll be back in 2 weeks from tonight as we'll talk officially about the Music City Bowl. We're really going to break it down and hopefully get some more updates of like who's still going to be playing in this game and who's not. And should be a lot of fun. Like I said, Tennessee picks up some new football players tonight or today in general. And excited to see the future of Tennessee football in general. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you for joining us tonight on Vols Society Live. Until then, David Morrison saying good night and go Vols.